so far. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna wait a few moments as students and families start trickling in. But again, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll get started in just a few moments. All right, it looks like we still have some students and families still trickling into the session. So we're gonna give everyone another moment or so to hop into the session. Again, thanks so much for joining us tonight. My name is Adam Moore. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions here. I won't be talking too much tonight, leaving it to the pros to discuss the topic at hand. But again, excited to have you all in the session tonight. We're gonna give it another minute or so and then we'll get started. All right, so it looks like that number stopped for a little bit. So Steve, if you'd like to go ahead and get going, and Deb, you guys should be good to go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening to students, family, and guests. Welcome to the University of Mary Washington. This is the University of Mary Washington Pre-Health Program, Spring 2021 Admitted Student Celebration Information Session. We are in the meeting module of Zoom, and this session is being recorded. If you do not want to be seen or heard, please turn off your video and mute your microphone. Now, we will have plenty of time for questions at the end. If you do have questions, I ask that you enter your questions in the chat box. And at the end, our moderator will read off your questions and I will be happy to answer them, okay? So let's begin. I am so sorry that my video camera is not on this evening. I have two laptops, one with video, one without video. And unfortunately, I am stranded right now with the one without video. So you're not seeing me on video, but this is me. I am Professor Stephen Gallick. I am the pre-health advisor for the University of Mary Washington, and I am a professor of biology. If you need to get in touch with me, there's my email address, and feel free to get in touch with me if you have questions after this session is over. Now, I will be actually, and unfortunately for me, leaving this post at the end of this school year, and beginning in the summer, you will have a new pre-health advisor, and that will be Dr. Deborah Odell. She's also a professor of biology, and should you ever want to email your new pre-health advisor, there's her email down there. Actually, Dr. Odell is in this session, so if you ever wanted to address a question to her, just put that in the chat box and let us know the question is for Dr. Odell. This is our pre-health program website. And down here, you see this is the URL for the website. So should you want to get some online information now about our pre-health program, this is the place to go. Now, the one thing that the website can offer you right now are the specific course requirements for any of our pre-health tracks. So if you want to know specific course requirements and other things about all of our pre-health tracks, please go to this website. But let's talk about the program and what it offers. The UMW pre-health program offers academic and career advising to UMW students preparing for any type of health-related career. Now, what you see in front of you are some of the major health related careers and major pre-health career tracks that fall under the umbrella of the pre-health program. So if you want to be a pre-med or a pre-dental or pre-vet student, pre-physician assistant, pre-physical therapy, pre-occupational therapy, pre-pharmacy, et cetera, you're going to fall under the umbrella of the pre-health program. It's important to understand that these are pre-professional career tracks into which students will self-enroll and self-declare. And what that means is there is no need for a special application once you come into the University of Mary Washington. This also means that these pre-health tracks are not majors. So therefore, if you are in one of these pre-health tracks, you are still going to need to major in something. And one of the major questions incoming students have is, what should I major in? Now, the bottom line answer to that is you can major in anything you want, and health profession schools are delighted to see students who major in a variety of things. So for pre-med, for pre-dent, and pre-vet, you can major in absolutely anything, and I encourage you to follow your interests in majoring in anything. You can major in a non-science, you can major in a science, but certainly, and it's understandable, that biology, biomedical sciences, biochemistry, and chemistry are the more popular choices. For pre-PA students, again, you can major in anything, but since anatomy and physiology courses are biology department courses, biomedical sciences is a popular choice. For pre-physical therapy and pre-occupational therapy students, again, anything, you can major in anything you want, but typically biomedical sciences and psychology are popular choices. And if you're interested in pre-pharmacy, usually chemistry and biochemistry are the more popular choices. So that gives you an idea of what you should major in. But if you are uncertain about what you're going to major in when you get on campus, I suggest that you book an appointment with the UMW pre-health advisor in the fall, and I will show you how to do that later on in this presentation. Now, no matter what pre-health track you're interested in, any one of those pre-health tracks has three basic components to it. It has a set of courses that you need to take. It has clinical experiences that you need to complete. And it has community service, maybe research, and other extracurricular activities that you need to complete. So for example, let's talk about the required courses. Nearly all of those pre-health tracks require 2 semesters of general biology and 2 semesters of general chemistry. In addition to those, many of those tracks require 2 semesters of organic chemistry and 2 semesters of introductory physics. Now, also, in addition to all of those, many tracks also require 1 to 2 semesters of math, and that includes statistics, 2 semesters of English composition, at least 1 semester of psychology, 1 semester of biochemistry, and 1 semester of sociology. And on top of all of that, some tracks require 1 semester of anatomy and 1 semester of physiology. Now that's all in general, but if you want the details about any particular track, again, I remind you that you can go to our website that I showed you at the beginning of this session and click on the pre-health track you are interested in and find out the details. So this might be a sample fall semester schedule for first-year pre-health students at the University of Mary Washington. You will take either biology, you will want to take at least either Biology 121 or Biology 125, the first semester of the general biology sequence. You will want to take Chem 111 as the first semester of the general chemistry sequence. But to get into Chem 111, a placement exam is required. And if you take that placement exam and you are placed into Chem 101 instead of Chem 111, please note that Chem 101 will not satisfy the requirements of the pre-health program. So once you complete Chem 101, you will have to take Chem 111 after that. Then beyond the single biology course and the single chemistry course, you need to take one of the following: perhaps an English composition course, such as English 202, a psychology or sociology course, such as the courses listed here, perhaps a math course or even a stat course like Stat 180. But whatever of these three courses, whichever ones you don't take in your first semester, they may be taken during your second or third year. So don't worry about which ones you don't get a chance to take in your first semester, okay? And you're also going to be required to take the freshman seminar class, FSEM, which is required by all students. So I think that all comes down to about 14 credits or so that you will take your first semester. And that's a good load for any first semester student, okay? So those are the courses. Let's run down a summary of the courses that you will be taking. Now you have to complete a host of clinical experiences, and that's because clinical experiences are required by most health profession schools. So therefore, we require them as part of those pre-health tracks that I showed you before. Now, the reason clinical experiences are important is because these experiences expose students to the profession to which they aspire. They give students an opportunity to witness professionals at work, and they give students an opportunity to interact with patients. And all of these things are important to solidify or to convince health profession schools that you know what you're getting into and you definitely want to practice this profession. Now, the number of required hours of clinical experiences varies significantly among the pre-health tracks, and they vary significantly among the schools and programs that you will eventually apply to. And to learn more about how many hours you should have, book an appointment with your pre-health advisor in the fall, and your pre-health advisor will be glad to meet with you and discuss how many hours of clinical experiences you will need. Now, in Fredericksburg and in the Fredericksburg area, there are many venues through which students can complete these clinical experiences. And those venues include volunteer rescue squads, free clinics, veterinary clinics, physical therapy clinics, senior citizens' homes, hospice centers, etc. So there are a wide variety of places UMW students go to complete these experiences. Let me give you a few examples of the clinical experiences that UMW students complete. First of all, they have opportunities to shadow professionals in all professions. A number of our students, quite a few of our students, have jobs, either paid jobs or volunteering jobs, scribing at area hospitals, area clinics, and area emergency rooms. A number of our students ride with rescue squads and get their emergency medical technician licenses. We have 2 area hospitals in which our students volunteer. Our students volunteer with the area ASPCA and various vet clinics in the area. Mary Washington Healthcare is the corporation that manages our area hospitals. And we have some special programs. They have set up some special programs for UMW students that you will learn more about once you come to campus. We encourage our students to earn their CNA license, their Certified Nursing Assistant license, because that gives you a license to interact with patients hands-on. And that's very valuable when you are listing out your clinical experiences in your application for your health profession school. A number of our students volunteer with the Medical Reserve Corps, and that's especially important right now because Medical Reserve Corps supply volunteers for COVID-19 vaccination centers. And a lot of our students are involved in volunteering at those COVID-19 vaccination centers. And finally, our students volunteer with the Global Medical Brigades. Just a few examples of what our University of Mary Washington pre-health students are doing. Now, beyond clinical experiences, our students, pre-health students, need to engage in community service work. And by that, I'm talking about non-clinical volunteering within our community that displays a student's compassion and commitment to serving the community. It's very important. Now, the University of Mary Washington has an Office of Community Outreach through which our students can get such community service opportunities. And the university provides students with many service learning opportunities through the courses that are found in all majors. Essentially, all majors have courses that provide students with service learning opportunities. Our pre-health club also has ways in which students can get involved in the community. Undergraduate research. Undergraduate research is an area that benefits pre-health students. It's a real positive. Getting engaged in undergraduate research projects is a real positive if you are applying to a medical school. If you are pre-med, then undergraduate research is a real positive. It's a positive for other tracks, but less so. The university has special courses called URES courses, undergraduate research courses, or URES courses that are available to all students starting in their freshman year, through which students can get involved in small research projects. And finally, undergraduate research is a real prominent feature of all UMW majors. If you look at whatever UMW major you might be interested in, you will find advanced individual study courses listed in their catalog. And those courses provide students with undergraduate research in any major on campus. Finally, the university has a UMW Summer Science Institute, where students from a number of science and math majors can spend the summer on campus with a stipend, completing an expanded summer science undergraduate research project. Now valuable extracurricular activities do not stop there. If you get engaged in leadership roles, for example, in student government or club leadership, students that have had or are currently having military service, that's a very valuable extracurricular activity. Students involved in varsity athletics. We have lots of students, lots of pre-health students involved in varsity athletics. Those are valuable extracurricular activities. And if you are working while you are going in school, employment while you are in school is a very worthwhile thing that is considered valuable when you are applying to whatever health profession schools you are interested in. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, quite frankly. Being a pre-health student is essentially a 360-degree commitment. You have to be a serious student, ready, willing, and able to complete these requirements. However, I can tell you that these requirements can be completed in 3 years. If you want to complete them in 3 years, it's not a requirement. You don't need to complete them in 3 years. You can complete them in 4 years if you want, but you can complete them in 3 years. And if you do, then you are ready to apply to whatever health profession schools you're interested in after your 3rd year. You're ready to apply to those schools after your 3rd year. In other words, late spring or early summer after your 3rd year. That is the traditional time pre-health students apply to their health profession schools. The traditional time. It's not a requirement. You can apply to your school after your senior year, or you can even apply to your school, to any health profession schools, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years after you graduate. It's up to you. But I want you to know that you can complete these requirements in 3 years with really no problem, and be ready to apply after your 3rd year. And I want to promise you that if you complete these requirements, whenever you complete these requirements, if you have a competitive GPA, a competitive science and math grades, a competitive transcript with competitive standardized test scores, and quality clinical experiences, quality community service, and other extracurricular activities on your record, then I can promise you that you will get interviews with the health profession schools that you are applying to. If you work hard and you generate a competitive record, then you will get the interviews that you are seeking if you come to the University of Mary Washington. What makes our pre-health program special are the affiliation agreements, the special affiliation agreements that we have in place and that we are currently continuing to build. For example, we have a special affiliation agreement with the George Washington School of Medicine. It's called the George Washington School of Medicine Early Acceptance Program. It's exclusively for University of Mary Washington honors students. And with this early acceptance program, students gain provisional acceptance into the George Washington School of Medicine at the end of their 2nd year, beginning of the 3rd year at the University of Mary Washington. We have a similar program with the Edward Via Virginia College of Osteopathic Medicine, VCOM, Early Acceptance Program. It is not exclusive for honors students. And again, if accepted into the program, students gain provisional acceptance into VCOM at the end of their 2nd year, beginning of their 3rd year at UMW. We have another affiliation agreement with VCOM called the VCOM Guaranteed Admission Interview Program, where students accepted into the program are guaranteed a VCOM interview. And if that interview goes well, then guess what? You get accepted into the College of Osteopathic Medicine at VCOM. We have an affiliation agreement with the Shenandoah School of Pharmacy called the 3+1 program. In this program, students who are accepted into the program spend 3 years at the University of Mary Washington, And then they overlap their fourth UMW year with their first year at the Shenandoah School of Pharmacy. And then after that first year at the Shenandoah School of Pharmacy, they get their UMW bachelor's degree, and then they move on to their second year in pharmacy school. So it's really an advantage of students who are accepted into that program. And lastly, the University of Mary Washington has a special test preparation program, standardized test preparation program with Kaplan Test Prep, the Kaplan Test Prep Company. And this program offers students specialized test prep courses, preparing for the MCAT, preparing for the DAT, preparing for the GRE, et cetera, special courses at significantly reduced rates. And we are also building other affiliation agreements as well. So these special affiliation agreements are really help our students a lot with getting their foot in the door of so many of these schools. Quite a few of these of the health profession schools that you might eventually apply to, they might ask you to get a university committee recommendation as part of the set of recommendations that you use when you apply to these schools. And the university, UMW, has a committee that writes those recommendations. This is the UMW Pre-Health Committee. And you can see it's composed of several biology professors, several chemistry professors, and a psychology professor who review all of your credentials. They review your transcript, they review your pre-health resume, all of your clinical experiences, your community service activities, et cetera, and the committee interviews you. And then based on all that information, the committee writes a lengthy recommendation of you that you can put into your application when you apply to whatever school you're interested in. One of the strengths of the UMW pre-health program is our student-run pre-health society. The UMW Pre-Health Society is very active in organizing events, bringing to campus speakers that are of interest to all of our pre-health students. Here's a listing of some, not all actually, but some of our outgoing pre-health society officers. But we have a whole new batch of pre-health society officers coming in for next year. So if you come to the University of Mary Washington, one of the things you definitely are going to want to do is sign up as a member of our pre-health society. So finally, if you decide to join us, and I very much hope you do, one of the things you're going to want to do as soon as you get your University of Mary Washington network ID and you set up your password for the University of Mary Washington network, one of the first things you're going to want to do as a new pre-health student is register with the UMW pre-health program Canvas site or Canvas portal. You self-enroll in that portal by going to this URL. And if you want to take the time to write down this URL now, you can. But once you get onto campus, once you get onto campus, we will supply you with this URL and there will be no problem, okay? And once you get to that pre-health program Canvas portal, look for all kind of information about the program and each one of those pre-health tracks, and look for information for new students. Also, if you decide to join us, look for us at your summer orientation session. We will have a pre-health program summer orientation available to you. And if you didn't get this URL for our Canvas portal, we'll give you this URL at that orientation session. And then once the fall semester begins, we will have a pre-health program kickoff event that is really special for our new students. So look out for that as well. Finally, once you are on campus, I encourage you to book an appointment with the UMW pre-health advisor, who in the fall will be Professor Odell. And the way you do that, the way you book an appointment with the pre-health advisor, once you are a student here at the University of Mary Washington, is by going to the University of Mary Washington Career Center website. Here is the Career Center website URL. Go to that, go to this URL, search for the Career Center on the University of Mary Washington webpage. Go to the Career Center and you will be able to make an appointment with our pre-health advisor, okay? So I don't know how much time, I haven't been keeping track of time. I don't know how much time we have left, but that is the end of my comments, Adam. If we have any questions in the chat box, then I'm absolutely willing to answer whatever questions there are.
All right, we just had one come in.
Okay.
The question is, how does UMW provide or aid for access to shadowing specific specialties within their pre-advising career?
Well, we have a special program set up with the Mary Washington Healthcare Corporation, who manages the two hospitals. And we have special programs set up with them through which our students can shadow over short durations, shadow doctors who are affiliated with these programs at that hospital. That is the primary way we help students find shadowing experiences. But students can also find shadowing experiences by scribing. If they get involved in scribing opportunities, then through those scribing opportunities, students set up shadowing experiences as well. So those are the primary ways in which our program sets up shadowing opportunities.
Great first question. Great first question. That's the only one we have at the moment. Feel free to drop those questions as they come to you. So we'll still obviously wait around for a little bit here, but feel free. Any other questions that we could answer for you at this time? All right, just had another one come through. Is it common for students to be written recommendations from the pre-health program council?
Can you repeat that question, please?
Sure. The question is it common for students to be written recommendations from the pre-health program council?
It's very common for pre-medical students who are applying to medical schools, because medical schools actually prefer a committee-based recommendation, and it's very common for pre-dental students who are applying to dental schools to get a committee recommendation, because dental schools prefer a committee recommendation. It is less common for students in other pre-health tracks to request a committee recommendation. However, students in other pre-health tracks oftentimes ask for a pre-health advisor's individual recommendation, and we supply those as well. So I think that answers your question.
Great question. All right, we have another one. that just popped in here. What are some opportunities for pre-dental students, or what do you recommend we get involved in at UMW?
We have at least one, and actually I think, well, we have at least one free clinic in Fredericksburg. It's called the Moss Free Clinic. And that Moss Free Clinic has both a medical clinic and a dental clinic. And that is the primary way in which a number of our pre-dental students get shadowing experience and volunteer experience by volunteering as assistants at that free dental clinic. Our students also get involved in Missions of Mercy. Missions of Mercy is an organization that goes out and sets up free dental clinics, traveling dental clinics around the state of Virginia, providing free dental services for those that need it. So off the top of my head, those are the two primary ways in which pre-dental students get experience in a structured way. A lot of our pre-dental students, however, actually go out on their own and they get dental shadowing experiences with dentists that they personally know of. So those are some ways in which pre-dental students can get the type of clinical experiences that you're interested in. Yes.
Awesome. All right, we have a few more rolling in. So next one on the docket is, what should we expect most of the pre-health classes to be labs and lectures?
Yes. Well, the science classes, yes. All of the science courses I listed, freshman biology, freshman chemistry, organic chemistry, organic physics, all are lecture with lab, which means at the University of Mary Washington, that means they're 4-credit courses. So yes, lecture with a laboratory component as far as the science courses are concerned. Absolutely, yes. All of them have labs. And not only that, but the medical schools and dental schools and PA schools and PT schools, et cetera, they require them to have labs, okay? So you are fulfilling the requirements of those schools with these lab-based courses.
Next one up is, what is the general breakdown of pre-health majors, biology versus chemistry versus biochem, et cetera?
Well, by its very nature, the biology department, which is among the largest departments on campus, has a lot of pre-health students. And in the biology department, there are two relevant majors. There's the regular biology major, and then there's the biomedical sciences major. After that, I think the next group would be biochemistry. Biochemistry majors would follow, probably followed by chemistry and psychology. Okay, but that's among the sciences. I want to stress the fact that we have coming through our program a lot of non-science majors. For example, more and more of our students are business majors. Many of our students are double majors, with business being one of the second majors. We have students who major in languages. We have students who major in economics. We have students who major in computer science. And we have students who major in music. We have students from all of those majors going through the pre-health program. But true, the science majors are the more popular majors. And I would say biology and biomedical sciences, just by the fact that so many students are interested in biology. But then that's followed by biochemistry.
All right, Next one up, is there any difference for students who decide to do biomedical than biology?
There's some small differences. There are just one or two requirement required courses that are different. And beyond that, not too much. Deb Odell, Deb, do you have any more information about the biomedical sciences major compared to the biology major?
Yes, actually, let's see. There is one additional specified course in biomedical science, which is an elective in the biology, and that is human physiology. It's required biomedical, but it's an elective in the biology. The biology curriculum includes courses in ecology and evolution, whereas that is not required in the biomedical science. There is a social science requirement for the biomedical, so intro psychology, intro sociology, medical ethics, which do not count at all in the biology major. And then there are some upper level differences between research requirement versus capstone. So some minor differences when you get to be senior level. So little minor differences, but the biomedical science major was designed for students who were interested particularly in going into the health fields.
And I recommend, if you are thinking about any particular major, I recommend you contacting that department, and that department will know a lot more about those majors than we do. Okay, so if you're interested in a major in biology, if you're interested in a major in chemistry, or in the chemistry or biology departments, or maybe even in the physics department. I should have mentioned physics before. We have physics majors who have gone through the program. But whatever major you're interested in, the best place to get detailed information about those majors are from the departments that supervise those majors.
All right, we have a couple more minutes here. If any other questions, that's all of them at the moment, but we can wait around for a couple more moments to see if any other questions pop in.
One thing I would like to add, Dr. Gallick gave you a sample first semester schedule for students on pre-health tracks. And all of those classes that are listed will count towards your general education requirements. So even though, they are courses that help you in those pre-health tracks, those courses do fulfill other requirements towards your degree completion.
And that's why, that's a good point, Dr. Odell. That's why you can complete the pre-health requirements in 3 years and then graduate in 4 years. And that's because there's a significant amount of overlap between what you have to take in pre-health and what you are required to take in terms of general education requirements at the university.
All right, so it looks like we have time for at least one more question, and one just rolled in. So do non-science related minors add a good amount of diversity to your application when applying to med school?
Absolutely, because it helps your transcript stand out. When they look at your transcript, they will see that diversity. To be honest, straight biology majors, straight biomedical sciences majors, straight biochemistry majors and chemistry majors, all their transcripts look very similar. But if you go on to diversify by choosing a minor that is a non-science minor, then absolutely. I think it helps your application tremendously. Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we do have to close for another session, but Dr. Gallick, Dr. Odell, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Students, thanks so much. Hopefully you got a lot out of this session to learn a little bit more about our pre-health program, our fantastic program. As Dr. Odell and Dr. Gallick said, feel free to reach out to any of us to connect about next steps in the process with UMW, any additional questions you might have. But again, thank you so much for taking out the time out of your evening to chat with us and learn a little bit more about UMW.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Have a wonderful evening.
Seeing
Thanks
you
so
in the
much.
fall.